I read Tender is the Flesh. I want to talk about it. So, Tender is the Flesh is a horror story, I guess, about a not post apocalyptic world, about some type of dystopian alternate reality Earth where animals got some virus, so we can't eat them anymore. So, they started growing humans for food. It follows this main character, Marcos, who works at one of these human processing facilities and sort of follows him around through his life and things that he experiences. Him and his wife, Cecilia, lost a baby, and so she left, so he's kind of alone. Um, there's some graphic imagery in here. It didn't really work for me a whole lot. Like the idea I understand is scary, but it did not feel very realistic to me. The way it's written, I didn't feel attached to any of the characters. And if I'm reading a horror novel, part of what gives that novel horror to me is when things are happening to characters I care about. If I don't care about the characters, then what's happening to them really doesn't matter. And I didn't feel any attachment to anyone in here. There's obviously you can read into ideas about how capitalism is cannibalism and how we treat animals right now in our food processing methods. Like, I get those, and as a commentary on that, it could be poignant, but that doesn't mean that it was an entertaining read. And for me, it just wasn't. A lot of it felt like shock for the sake of shock. There were some story beats that, aside from trying to convey some other message besides what I was reading, didn't really hold a lot of ground as just like part of the story. I don't know. There's a lot of buzz around this book in the in my horror book social medias, so I was eager to read it, and I did, and I don't know. It was fine. I think there are better books that make these kind of points. But, that's Tender is the Flesh. If it's something that interests you, pick it up. If that does not sound like something that you want to read and subject yourself to, then I would avoid it. It was all right, though. I'd give it like a 3.5. It wasn't bad. It was written well. It just didn't really touch home for me the way I was hoping to. And I was never scared. I was never anything. It was just sort of this graphic, weird, detached, alternate world where we eat people, and there are processing plants, and there are some pretty graphic descriptions about that process and how it works. If you're interested in that social commentary about what capitalism does to people and what we do to animals, if that's something that interests you, it's just just dark, though. There's no silver lining. There's no bigger meaning. It's just sort of, this is how it is, and that's terrible, and that's true. It is, but that's just kind of it. The ending too was a little. I don't know, the way they had talked about the main character, some of his actions about halfway through the book up to the end, sort of led me to think he was a certain kind of person. So I guess the ending was kind of a twist for me personally, but maybe other people saw it coming more than I did. But even then, I was just sort of like, oh, so you're just an asshole too? Like, so everything in this book is bad? There is no redemption here? And maybe that's the point, that people will do terrible things, and that's just the way it is, and there is no redemption for anyone. So maybe that's the plot. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it altogether. But yeah, that's my review. That's Tender as the Flesh. I'd say like a 3.5. It's pretty short. It's a pretty quick read. So if it was longer and the same story, I might have rated a little lower. But because it's only a little over 200 pages, it was a really fast read. Yeah. What do you think? Did you read it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I'll catch you next time.